Kendall versus Comboyne game here. The Kendall side, number 1, Nev Latham, number 2, Benson, number 3, David Latham, number 4, Dean Gemmell, number 5, Les Cook, number 6, Garry Smith, number 7, Ron Latham, 8 is Tony Bignell, 9, Wayne Dietz, 10, Michael Laurie, 11, Paul Smith, 12, Troy Krogh, and number 13 is Garry Smith. The Comboyne side, number 1, P. Ball, 2, S. French, 3, M. Keating, 4, R. Thompson, 5, G. Graham, 6 is Greg Harold and Captain Tate, 7 is A. W. Sweeney, 8 S. Thomas, 9 Ian Lattimore, 10 Dennis Lattimore, 11 John Sherbert, 12 Peter Hale, and number 13 Billy Gardner, and the referee for today's fixture is Mr. Wayne Burt. Start play here with this game between Kendall and Comboyne. Referee signal time on base. Smith kicks off deep in the Comboyne third. Caught there by their fullback Ball. He takes it up. He's met in a solid tackle there by Mick Laurie and put on the ground. That's the Greg Hale. He's rolled up by Dietz. Hale at dummy half kicked it to Peter Hale. On to Billy Gardner, but Gardner's immediately wrapped up there by Ronnie Latham and Greg Smith. Gardner plays it to Peter Hale. He runs from dummy half, gained a few metres and he's put down. By Krogh and Paul Smith. Billy Gardner throws it out under Lattimore on to Greg Hale. Someone's using their back line here today. Then when they throw the ball wide, Greg Hale stab kicks the line. It's picked up by Garry Smith and he's putting on there in a good tackle. Paul Smith at dummy half, he runs. And he gained a couple of yards, he's putting on by Gardner. Ball him, so the fullback. Goes the blind man to Dietz, and Dietz is wrapped up there by Schubert. Dietz plays it to Krogh on the Ronnie Latham. He hesitated there to Paul Smith. He overrun the pass and the referee judged it a forward pass. First come of the match goes in, son by Comboyne. Opening up the open side, but they're half there, dead return. He's wrapped up immediately by Tony Bignell. Ian Lattimore takes up strong, but he's putting on there by Mick Laurie and Wayne Dietz. Peter Hale flips the ball out there, but there's centre 3/4 in Thompson, and Thompson's putting on. By Laurie and Gemmell. Plays it to Peter Hale. Goes out to Greg Hale on the Schubert. Schubert's putting on there by Dietz and Gemmell. Peter Hale flips it out to Greg Hale. Wide ball there up to the half-back Sweeney. The winger's gone without it. French. Graham, I say. Greg Hale kicking for the line there, but he kicked it inside. Comes to Nev Latham. He picked it up. Throws a wide pass out there to David Latham. Goes out to Les Cook. The referees judged the forward pass. Silly pass there by Neville. Peter Hale appeared to be injured there. Comboyne third, the Sun and win it. Regisani works blind side there and it goes to Thompson. Thompson's wrapped up there by Garry Smith with the assistance of Wayne Dietz. Billy Gardner dummy half. Gets the ball, that goes out to their winger in Graham, and Graham's immediately wrapped up. So it's Greg Hale on the gun Schubert. Schubert takes it up strong, but Krogh wraps him up immediately. Solid tackle. Hale at dummy half. Gets the ball out. Keating's up. He's hurting that tackle. Peter Hale fits to Greg Hale. He does a little stab kick. Goes to Nev Latham. He's wrapped up immediately there by Greg Hale and Schubert. Plays it to Laurie. Laurie runs from dummy half and gains a couple of metres and he's putting on. Benson at dummy half. He runs from dummy half and he's gained a couple of metres and putting on there by Peter Hale. Goes up to Greg Smith and he kicks. Big tower and kick down the eastern touch line. Bounce back over their heads. Back to the Kendall. Bad luck there by Greg Smith. Never picked that ball up for Kendall. left it on the ground. Casting on it. Kendall come up with a stump feed. Benson goes from dummy half. He's made a couple of metres. Ronnie Latham at dummy half. On a tiny Bignell. Back to Ronnie Latham. He's wrapped up immediately there by Gardner and Peter Harrell. Troy Krogh at dummy half. He slips it to Dietz on the back. Dietz bumps off one. Almost got through the second line there and he's put in. Dietz picks up and plays it to Troy Krogh on to Ronnie Latham. On to Garry Smith. He puts a little stud kick through. Comboyne was ruled offside then. It was touched by a Comboyne player and the ball was kicked forward. So there'll be a penalty to Kendall and Garry Smith will take a shot at goal. Signs up this penalty shot at goal, just inside the Comboyne quarter line. Sets himself and moves in. Strikes the ball. Touch judges put their flags up. 2 points to Kendall, Comboyne nil. Comboyne restart play here for winger Graham. Big long kick. Mick Laurie. Made a blunder there and Comboyne's found touch and now get the feed. One by Comboyne is immediately put down by Dietz. Goes to French and French is wrapped up there by Krogh. Goes back the ball, the fullback, and he's wrapped up there by Mick Laurie and Garry Smith with the assistance of Wayne Dietz. Peter Harrell puts the ball out to Lattimore, but Lattimore is wrapped up by Paul Smith, Tony Bignell, and then put down. Peter Harrell at dummy half. Flips it out to Krogh. Goes on to their left forward, Thomas out to centre third quarter, and Thompson's put down. Drawn back to the referee seat. Penalty there to Comboyne. Dangerous tackle there by Kendall. Greg Harrell's going to kick for the eastern touch line. Peter Harrell takes the touch. Taps it, goes forward, turns his back and he's slammed down there by Mick Laurie. Dennis Lattimore dummy half and he takes it up and he's put in. Peter Harrell dummy half again, puts the ball there to Keating and Keating scored right beside the post. Comboyne 4, lead Kendall 2. Peter Harrell lines up this version of the G-Graham try. Puts himself in raising. Left-footed stab kick. Raise the flag. Comboyne 6. Lead Kendall 2. Garry Smith kicks off the Kendall. Goes down to Greg Harrell. He sort of takes it up. Puts a left-footed kick and he finds touch right on half of inside the Kendall half. French is wrapped up by Ronnie Latham and Tony Bignell. Ball runs from dummy half. Tony Bignell and Mick Laurie put him on the ground. Goes to Peter Harrell on the Greg Harrell on the Billy Gardner on the back. Gardner's held up there by Dietz and Garry Smith. He gets up and plays it to Greg Harrell. He puts the ball on to Ian Lattimore. Ian Lattimore wrapped up there in a solid tackle by Mick Laurie and Paul Smith. Greg Harrell at dummy half puts the ball out there to halfback Debreceni on the Schubert. Schubert tries to unload his backside. Back to Debreceni and Debreceni's put on by Tony Bignell. French at dummy half on the Greg Harrell. He kicks. That kicks to the line, goes to Les Cook. Caught well by Les Cook. Turns and takes it up to the Comboyne defence and he's lost the ball and Greg Harrell wrests it from his hands and it's a penalty to Kendall. Greg Smith will kick for the western touch line. Not a bad looking kick. He's going to about 20 odd metres for that kick. Goes forward. Comes to Peter Harrell and he's slammed down there by Harrell with the assistance of Dennis Lattimore. Goes to Tony Bignell. on the big Paul Smith on the back. He's wrapped up and put down there by Darren Mardell and Ball the fullback. On the Tony Bignell on the Ronnie Latham. Puts the ball out of Garry Smith on the Gemmell. Goes on to Dave Latham, who's flying down the touch line. Dave Latham dipped in the touch, just a couple of metres there from the Comboyne goal line. And goes down, it's run by Kendall. Ronnie Latham comes the open side and he's put down there. He's up, plays it to Tony Bignell on the Garry Smith. Goes out to Gemmell. Gemmell slammed down there by Thompson. Nev Latham runs from dummy half, ducks around one, gets around two. Tries to unload the ball. Gained about 10 metres and a good run from dummy half. Mick Laurie runs from dummy half. He's got around one. Krogh dummy half. Puts it to Tony Bignell. On the big Garry Smith on the back, and Garry Smith held up just a couple of metres short of the goal line. Someone goes to Paul Smith. Referee says it's change over. Darren Mardell goes to dummy half. Puts the Greg hole. On the Keating and Keating's put in. Slight little knock on from dummy half there by Greg hole. This will be a stampede for Kendall. Ronnie Latham puts it in. Run by Kendall. It goes to Dave Latham down the blind side. On to Nev Latham. Nev Latham on to Warren Benson. Warren Benson scored in the corner. Ronnie Jackson said he scored the try and the referee has agreed with him. Conversion up from the touch line of the Warren Benson try. Sets himself into moving. Strikes the ball, not a bad looking kick there by Garry Smith. The touch judges have flagged it away. So it's Kendall 6, Comboyne 6. So Graham will kick off the Comboyne. Big long kick goes to Tony Bignell. He turns and takes it to the Comboyne defence. Put down there by the fullback ball. Sure that affects that tackle there on Krogh. Goes to Wayne Dietz. Dietz is going without it. There's a swinging arm there from Schubert. Garry Smith will kick for the western touch line. That ball's going for a week. Cook takes the tap and takes it up strongly. Krogh dummy half, puts it to Tony Bignell. On the Wayne Dietz on the back. He takes it up strongly and he's wrapped up by Gardner. And Peter Harold. Plays it to Krogh. On the Ronnie Latham, back inside to Paul Smith. He's wrapped up there by Dennis Lattimore and Ian Lattimore. Krogh dummy half to Ronnie Latham. He does a little skip over the top. Paul Smith will pick up for Kendall. The referee signals 6 to go. Krogh dummy half. Out to Ronnie Latham. On to Garry Smith. On to Tony Bignell. On to Gemmell. He steps and comes back inside. Steps around another one. Goes to Mick Laurie. He takes it up strongly there and it's put on by Dennis Lattimore. Hurries up and plays it to Krogh. Goes on to Garry Smith. Tony Bignell on to Nev Latham. On to Benson. Benson comes back inside and he's put down. Tony Bignell on to Garry Smith. On to Krogh. On to Garry Smith. Les Cook comes inside, picks up the bread there for Kendall. Krogh dummy half on to Garry Smith. Takes the shot at 12 goals. One back with no go. Schubert takes up strongly, he's put in by Dietz. Goes to Krogh. On to Benson on to Keating and Keating's put in. Goes out to Krogh. There's a loose pass there, picked up by a ball. Goes to Peter Harold. Peter Harold back inside. The ball and balls wrapped up immediately there by Mick Laurie and the assistance of Les Cook. Krogh takes this kick, left hook, touches it to Kendall. He turns and takes it up, put down there by Ball. Krogh dummy half, puts it to Wayne Dietz. He takes it up strong. He's put down. Krogh dummy half again. Up to Ronnie Latham, on to Tony Bignell, on to Garry Smith. Goes on to Dean Gemmell, on to Dave Latham on the fly, and he's held there in a good tackle by Keating and slammed to the ground. Krogh dummy half on to Tony Bignell. He throws a couple of dummies back to Krogh. Goes out to David Latham, he dummies, gets around one, gets around two, gets around another, and he's putting on the good little drinking run. He's up and plays it to Garry Smith, on to Tony Bignell. He does a little kick through, and he's tripped there by the Comboyne defender, and Garry Smith will take a shot at goal here, I would think. Garry Smith setting himself for this attempted penalty goal. Moves in, strikes the ball. Not a bad looking kick. The touch judges put their flags up. Kendall 8, lead Comboyne 6. Graham Smith recommenced play here from the halfway line. Kicks deep down into the Kendall territory. Tony Bignell catches the ball on the full and comes back to the defence. Passes on to Mick Laurie. He steps and gets around, hurdles one, and he's tripped over there. Comboyne take that touch finder. Inside the Kendall quarter line. Darrell takes the touch, puts the ball there to Keating, coming back down the blind side, and he's wrapped up there in a good strong tackle by Smith and Laurie. Paul Smith, that is. Dennis Lattimore sits the ball. Ball does a bit of a jink there, and he comes back in and slammed down there by Wayne Dietz. Paul Smith again. Howell runs from dummy half. He's put down there by Mick Laurie. Ball runs from dummy half, and he's put down. Goes out to Dennis Lattimore. He puts the ball on the Greg Harrell there. Ian Lattimore picks up the dredge, and he's putting on there by Garry Smith. He plays it to Billy Gardner on the Greg Harrell. Big power and kick there, but I think it might be far too deep. Kendall takes the tap here from their own quarter line. Bignell takes the tap, runs to the Comboyne defence and put in there by Lattimore. Ian Lattimore. Left hook runs from dummy half. He's going to be about 10 yards there in a good run. Krogh dummy half. Puts it to Ronnie Latham. On the Mick Laurie on the back. He's got around one, got around two, and he's put down there in a good run. Krogh dummy half. Puts to Garry Smith. He does a power and kick back down to French. French catches it on the full and turns and comes to the Kendall defence, and he's put down there by Tony Bignell and David Latham. Ball from the fullback runs from dummy half, and he's put down by Bignell and Latham. Harrell comes down the blind side again. He's put down there by Tony Bignell. Ball the dummy half on the Greg Harrell. Puts it out there to Thomas Sellock forward, and he's put down a good tackle by Krogh. He's done some good hits here today, Krogh. Schubert takes it up down the blind side, and he's put down there by Dietz and Tony Bignell. Peter Harrell has a stab kick to the line that's out in the full, and Kendall will get the feed. His cook's got a bit of blood coming out of him, that won't hurt him. Kendall fed it, and Ronnie Latham comes up with it. Goes out to Tony Bignell. On to Dean Gemmell. He comes back inside, nearly lost the ball, and he's put down there by his opposite number in Thompson. Goes out to Ronnie Latham. He steps, comes back inside, puts the ball there to Dave Latham. Nev Latham on to Dave Latham. He's on the fly down the touch line. Puts the ball back inside there, and Benson, I think Benson lost the ball. The touch judge said no try. Peter Howell take this touch from the quarter line. He takes it, gives it to Schubert and Schubert. Wrapped up there by Dietz and Laurie. Peter Howell, dummy half. The dead Bassini on the go. Greg Howell goes out to Thompson and Thompson's put in. Dead Bassini on the Lattimore. Lattimore put in a good tackle there. And Dietz has come up with position. Garry Smith runs from dummy half. Krogh and Tony Bignell. Garry Smith on the beam, Gemmell on the back. Gives a good pass out there to Les Cook. Les Cook comes back in field. Gets around one. Comes up, Peter Howell's come up with possession there for Comboyne. He's wrapped up there by Tony Bignell, slammed to the ground. Bunch of dummy half, he runs. He's put in a good tackle by Krogh. Peter Howell on the Bassini, he dummies. And he's wrapped up by Dietz and Garry Smith. Greg Howell on the Thomas on the bear said Comboyne knocked the ball on, so it'll be a Kendall stampede. Nev Latham puts it in. Goes out. Tony Bignell on to Greg Smith. On to Dave Latham. Silly passes there from Kendall. Greg Harrell come up with it for Comboyne. Greg Harrell, the dummy half on the Billy Gardner. He dummies and takes it forward and put it in there by Dietz. Ball at dummy half. He puts it out to Greg Harrell. Back to Peter Howell. Back to ball. Ball going nowhere. Back, comes back to Peter Howell. He throws the dummy and gives it to French, but French is grabbed there by Garry Smith. He's held the referee's head flat. Goes up to Bassini on the Howell. Howell kicks to the line. And it's a good looking kick there too. He's gained about 20 odd metres in that line. Ronnie Latham puts it in for Kendall. Comes up with it on to Greg Smith. Loose pass there, and Ronnie Latham comes up with it again. He tries to beat Greg Howell. He gets up and plays it to Gemmell. Gemmell runs from dummy half, and he's wrapped up there by Greg Howell. Ronnie Latham on the Krogh. Back inside to Gemmell. Gemmell runs hard, and he's put down. Greg Smith at dummy half, puts it to Tony Bignell. On to Paul Smith on the back. He's got around one. Puts the ball there to Dave Latham. Warren Benson it was. Greg Smith back inside the Dietz. Dietz takes it up strongly and gained a few yards there, and he threw a loose pass and Comboyne come up with it. Lattimore on some dummy half. Ian Lattimore, that is. Goes out to Dennis Lattimore back inside the ball. Billy Gardner runs from dummy half. He's gained a couple of yards. Good tackle there by Nev Latham. Comboyne's knocked it on now. Our referee said it's come off his legs. Dave Latham comes up with it for Kendall. Benson on. Warren Benson. Krogh runs and he's put down. Benson a dummy half. He takes it up strongly and gains about 5 metres in a good run. Goes to Krogh. Ronnie Latham, he kicks. Straight down French's throat. Dave Latham puts him down in a good tackle. Dave Latham come in and finish that tackle off with the assistance of Loose Cook. Peter Harrell goes out to Thomas. Thomas put down by Garry Smith. Comboyne are working their way towards the Kendall sticks here. Dennis Latimore out to Krogh. He's going without it. Gemmell comes up with it. Greg Smith puts it out to Tony Bignell. He's down the blind side and he gained about 5 or 6 metres. Nev Latham runs from dummy half. He's got a round 1, got a round 2. Clips and comes to the fullback and he's put down. The Krogh on the big Garry Smith on the back. He gained about 5 metres there and a good run. Krogh dummy half on the Greg Smith. The Loose Cook put down. It was a loose pass there. Krogh tried to kick it to the touchline, caught by French. Harrell runs from dummy half. He's wrapped up by Krogh. Sherbert goes out the ball, the fullback, and he's wrapped up by Laurie and Dietz. Peter Harrell, the dummy half, sits at the Gardner. Gardner's wrapped up there by Paul Smith and Mick Laurie and Garry Smith. Slight knock on there from dummy half by Ian Latimore. Some will go down about 10 yards inside the Comboyne half and will be fed by Ronnie Latham for Kendall. He slips it in. Kendall come up with the ball. He kicks it to Greg Smith. Bad pass there, but Dave Latham knocked it on. Too long and pass. Ronnie Latham, isn't it? No. Come on, Fred, and come up with the ball. Their half did the same. He slips the ball. Ball put down by Ronnie Latham. He plays it. Dummy half run. He slammed down there by Garry Smith. Goes out to Peter Harrell. He turned his back, paid the penalty, and he slammed down by Paul Smith. That's Dennis Latham will go from dummy half for a bit of a gallop, and he's put down. Good to see out to Krogh on the ball. Ronnie Latham feeds this ball for Kendall. Come up with possession. Big Garry Smith immediately grounded there by Krogh. Up to Ronnie Latham, on to Tony Bignell. On to Dave Latham. He gets around 1. Gets around 2. Comes back in field and nearly got through the last line defence and put down by Thomas. Krogh up to Tony Bignell on the Wayne Dietz. Dietz is wrapped up there and put down by Dennis Latimore and Sherbert. I think Sherbert come off second best in that tackle. Eight 6, Kendall's leading. The referees penalising Wayne Dietz and giving Wayne Dietz and Ian Latimore a bit of a dressing down there. The form better. Not territorially wise. Come on, third this time, and Ronnie Latham comes up with for Kendall. Kicks it to Benson. Benson grounded down the blind side. Krogh out to Tony Bignell. On to Paul Smith on the back. He tries to bump off one and put down there by Ian Latimore. Garry Smith works the blind side there and he's put down. Troy Krogh on the arse on the Tony Bignell. On the Dean Gemmell. Nev Latham out to Garry Smith on the Dave Latham, but the referee rolled out a forward pass. Everything he feeds it to Kendall. Kendall come up with another stump. Troy Krogh's hooking well here today on to Garry Smith. Slight knock on there by Nev Latham. Scrum will go down on the quarter line. Comboyne come up to this scrum. Tariq Feed and Benson slammed down by Ronnie Latham. He plays it to Jeff Sherbert, who's come on and replaced his brother John here in the Comboyne side. Ball takes it up here for Comboyne, but he slammed down. A good tackle there by Mick Laurie. Jeff Sherbert had done a half. He runs. He's put down there by Garry Smith. Goes back the ball on the Krogh, does a little chip kick over. Caught by Mick Laurie. Krogh comes up with it for Comboyne. Ball runs down the blind side and he's ridden to the ground there by Benson. Sherbert flips it out to Benson and Benson held up. Goes out to Billy Gardner. Down by Laurie, Gardner gets up and plays it on the Krogh. Krogh does a big tear and up and under there. Krogh come up with it, goes out to Krogh. Keating's there tackled right near the Kendall line. Penalty there to Comboyne. Garry Smith's done a little bit of an infringement. Comes out to Graham and Graham's put down. Krogh tries to pass him dummy after Garry Smith immediately wrapped him up. He tried to get over the line there from a little cut forward, but Harold's put down again. Another penalty there to Comboyne. Krogh will take the tap. Goes out to French. French is put in a touch there by Lee Cook and the assistant for Troy Krogh. I wish he'd make the sun come out. Yeah. Wish it'd hurry up and spin. Kendall fed that scum and Comboyne come up with it and Krogh tackled there by Garry Smith. They come out the open side and everything he's put down by Nev Latham. Krogh runs from dummy half, puts the ball there to Dennis Lattimore and he's held up there by Paul Smith and slammed to the ground. He plays it to Peter Hole. He flips it to Sherbert. But Sherbert's held up there, only a few metres out from the Kendall tire line. Goes to Peter Hole on the Krogh. On the cut out through Billy Gardner there, it went to Graham and Graham Krogh does a little stab kick, Mick Laurie. Referee Wayne Burke is persistent here with penalties on the Kendall line. Peter Hole will probably have a penalty shot at goal, eh? Greg Hole's lining up this penalty shot at goal right in front of the six. If he kicks this, it'll be 8-all at half time. Krogh comes in, strikes the ball straight between the posts for the half-time score. Kendall 8, Comboyne 8. Comboyne kicked off there, Tony Bignell pick it up and pass to Paul Smith. He's put down there by Schubert. He's kicked prematurely in the play of the ball there, and it'll be a penalty to Kendall. Gave him about a 10-minute break. Garry Smith kicks through the western touchline. He gains about 15 metres. Benson will take the tap kick. Tap kick and goes forward. Slammed down there by Billy Gardner and Peter Hole. Troy Krogh dummy half. On the Tony Bignell. On the Darren Mardell, he takes it up strongly and gained about a metre over halfway. Troy Krogh and Ronnie Latham. Paul Smith on the burst. He takes it up strong. He gained about 15 metres there and a good run. Put down there by Ian Lattimore. Ronnie Latham on the Garry Smith. He only gained about a metre there in that burst. Bignell from dummy half flicks the ball to Troy Krogh. He backed up well. Krogh made about 20 metres there in a good burst. Garry Smith. Stab kick there for the line. But I think it's gone dead in goal. The quarter line drop tap kick here by Peter Hole. He tapped it. Gives it to Schubert. Schubert's wrapped up in a good tackle there by Troy Krogh and Darren Mardell. No mark, he's tapped it forward. Schubert gained about 15 metres there in that passage of play. Mick Laurie put him down. Hold the dummy half. Peter gives the Greg Hole on the Billy Yard and on the burst, and he slammed down the good tackle there by Paul Smith. Garry Smith comes up with the ball, and he flips the ball there to Ronnie Latham. Goes to out there to Les Cook, up the touch line, and Les Cook, he's put in the touch there about 20 odd metres in Comboyne service. Ball goes out here to Dave Latham. He gets around one. Ankle tap there and he lost the ball, the referee said. He's going to have to pass the ball. Comboyne scrum third, but Kendall come up with the ball. The Comboyne 5-8 there is a mile offside, but the referee said flat. Tony Bignell dummy half. Puts it to Mardell. He turns and he's slammed to the ground there, and a good jolting tackle by Billy Gardner. Troy Krogh out on the Dean Gemmell on the Nev Latham. Gets around one. Gives it to Les Cook. He's lost the ball and put his foot out over the touch line. Ronnie Latham feeds this ball for Kendall. Man comes up. Comboyne's a mile offside there. The ball wasn't even out and the lock forward was right beyond Ronnie Latham. Les Cook took the tap and he's put down a couple of metres out from the Comboyne line. Troy Krogh runs from dummy half and he's slammed to the ground by Peter Hole. Les Cook at dummy half. And the Tony Bignell. Ronnie Latham on the Mick Laurie on the burst, but Mick Laurie put down about 3 yards out from the stick. Paul Smith on to Ronnie Latham. Back inside to Tony Bignell. On to Mick Laurie. He's held up only about a metre short of the line. Troy Krogh a dummy half. Out to Garry Smith. On to Ronnie Latham. Bit of sloppy play there by Kendall, and Paul Smith managed to come up with possession. Ronnie Latham runs, gives it to Paul Smith. He does a little kick. Comboyne knocked the ball on there. Kendall will get this scrum freed about 5 yards out from the Comboyne goal line. Kendall come up with his scrum freed. It goes to Dave Latham. He dummies, gets around one. On to Warren Benson, and Benson scored in the corner. That's a good bit of football there by Kendall. Good pass there from Dave Latham there to Warren Benson. That's his second try here today. That try of Warren Benson's was scored in the 6th minute of the second half. Garry Smith's going to try and convert this try from about 2 metres in from the touchline on the western side of the field. Moves in, strikes the ball. But it's away out to the left-hand side of the post. No conversion there, and Kendall 12 leads Comboyne 8. Here from the halfway line. Goes straight back down to Nev Latham. He catches it and comes to the defence. He claps on the post. He steps around one, but he's put down there by Graham. Dave Latham there on the fly down that touch line, and he's put down. Tony Bignell there set upon, slammed down there. Comboyne's getting a little bit of seriousness into their tackle on here now in the second half. Nev Latham's come in from fullback. Gives it to Warren Benson. Benson steps around one, gets around another, comes back in forward, and a good run there by Warren Benson. That passage of play, Kendall swept about 40-odd metres. Garry Smith, it goes out there on the Gemmell. Back out to Les Cook. He turns, tries to flip the ball, and he's put in. Too many cut-out passes there. Mick Laurie tried to slip that ball in, and he lost it forward. That'll be a Comboyne scrum feed here about 20 metres inside Comboyne's half. He feeds it, comes up with it to Comboyne. Puts the ball, and ball's put down there by Paul Smith, who broke quickly from the scrum. Greg Harrell on to Thomas Ellock forward, and Mick Laurie puts him down the solid tackle. Goes back out there to Keating, and Mick Laurie comes in and frames him in a good tackle. Laurie's just done 3 in a row there and put down Billy Gardner. Ian Lattimore takes it up here, but a bit of a head-eye tackle there from Gemmell, but Mardell and Smith make the effective tackle there on Peter Harrell. Goes out to shoot it on to Greg Harrell. Picks at the ball. Ball put down, that's a change over. I should have penalised Comboyne then, that was a change over. So plays it to Garry Smith. He runs about 3 metres. Gives Dennis Lattimore a bit of a don't argue there. Tony Bignell steps, puts the ball there to Mardell, and Mardell slammed down. Some pretty big hits here in this early stages of this second half. It goes out to Ronnie Latham. He steps, comes back inside, whacks the blind side there on the Paul Smith, and Paul Smith held up there by Greg Harrell. Troy Krogh on to Tony Bignell, back to Tony Bignell, on to Greg Smith, on to Gemmell. That's a silly pass there from Dean Gemmell. God, I didn't hope. Can't play better, I'm sorry. Okay. Comboyne played that scrum through Debreceni and he runs round the open and he's put in there. Boy, Mick Laurie who breaks in that scrum. Billy Gardner takes it up strong there and Mick Laurie comes in. Lattimore runs hard and Lattimore slammed down there by Mick Laurie and Paul Smith. Graham put in, it comes out to Harold. Greg Harold on the Billy Gardner on the burst. Comboyne's working their way here to the Kendall stick, so I'll probably put up a little kick here. Harold puts his foot to it. It comes down in style to Kendall and it's caught by Nev Latham. Kendall must have done something silly there when Greg Harold kicked the ball. Goes to shoot it. Harold puts the Debreceni's ground there by Darren Mardell. He plays it to Greg Harold. On to Dennis Lattimore. Gemmell comes in and creams Peter Harold before he could unload that ball. Goes out to Greg Harold onto the Graham, their winger, and he runs strongly and he's held up by Garry Smith. Goes out to Peter Harold. Comboyne made a slight little knock on there and it'll be a scrum 5 yards out from the Kendall goal line with the Kendall feed. Ronnie Latham feeds this scrum for Kendall. Then comes up with it. Lost the ball there, but the referee said it went back to Krogh, dummy half. He runs. He gains a couple of metres there and he's put down. Ronnie Latham, the dummy half, sits at the Tony Bignell on a big Garry Smith. But he's immediately set upon there by Dennis Lattimore and then Jeff Schubert. Greg Smith kicks. Big tower and kicks. Comes back down to French, he catches it. The Comboyne bloke was out about 2 feet over the touch line and he tried to get in before the touch yard could see him, but he wasn't that quick. He run back into the first play real quick. You look as if you're frozen there, Billy. You another scrum feed here to Kendall. Ronnie Latham fed that scrum far too high. Goes out to Billy Gardner. He's put in by Tony Bignell. Out to Greg Harold. On to Thomas. He slips the ball there. They've brought their winger in. He's playing in the centres now. And ball to him. He full back out onto the wing. Couple of good tackles there from Greg Smith and Darren Mardell. Greg Harold shapes the pass and slips it to Graham again, and Graham's coming back in near the post looking for his second try. Schubert out to Greg Harold on to Peter Harold. Peter Harold's going nowhere enough to change over. Gemmell plays it to Krogh. He leans straight into Peter Harold. Gemmell a dummy half, he runs. Gained about a metre and he's put down. Tony Bignell on the big Garry Smith on the burst. He only gained a couple of metres and he's put down. Krogh works the blind side there with Paul Smith. One of the Comboyne defenders there come off second best in that tackle. Greg Smith does it, tear and kick back in the Comboyne's half here. French catches it again. He shapes the pass and Never sucked David Latham in, who put him down a good tackle. Ronnie Latham had a bit of a swing at Lattimore there, and Comboyne comes up with a penalty. Harold kicks to the western touchline, and he gains about 10 metres. French takes the tap and runs to the Kendall defence. Krogh meets him and Laurie, and Laurie wrests the ball from his hands, and that'll be a penalty to Comboyne. Keaton took the tap and was tackled. Lattimore runs from dummy half, and he's put down there, and a good tackle by Mardell and Tony Bignell. Peter Hull, the dummy half, goes to Schubert. Schubert's put down there by Mick Laurie, and a good tackle. Peter Hull's the dummy half. Out to Dennis Lattimore. He's put down there by Mardell and Tony Bignell. Graham runs from dummy half. He's close to the Kendall line there. Keating there was held up about 2 yards out from the Kendall line at the change over there to Kendall. Nev Latham runs from dummy half and tried to step around Thomas, but Thomas put him down. Benson runs from dummy half. He gained a couple of metres and he's put down. Krogh out to Garry Smith. Krogh again at dummy half. On to Dean Gemmell. He kicked. But his hand has found touch, and a good kick there. Kendall should get the stump there it is, because he kicked there on the third tackle. Third tackle was the stump there, didn't it? Ronnie Latham puts it in. Comboyne come up with it.
Who is it? Is Paul in there?
That penalty will go to Kendall there, and a little infringement there by the Comboyne 5'8" Greg Harold and Bebersini. Have to try to roughen him up a bit. Ron will take all they can dish out and give them plenty back. That's a good kick there by Garry Smith. He's found about 20 metres with that kick. Les Cook takes it up. Krogh. On Tony Bignell, on to Paul Smith on the bar. He's held the pass out there to unload, but there was no support. Krogh down the arc. Goes out to Ronnie Latham, he does a drinking run. He's slammed down there by the two Harolds with the assistance of Thomas. Goes out to Darren Mardell, he's down the touchline. Puts the ball inside there to... There was a coating there from one of the Comboyne players. No, it was... I think it was. I think it's Les Cook. Les Cook got that header tackle there from Tony Bignell. Puts it on to Paul Smith. A good pass there from Tony Bignell. Krogh dummy half. On to Tony Bignell, on to Garry Smith. Steps, comes infield, steps around again, and puts the ball down right beside the post. A good try there scored by Garry Smith. In the 19th minute, that takes Kendall now on to 16, Comboyne 8. guys are just getting acclimatised now.
I bet you never forget to get out again to come to Comboyne. Oh, my head.
Greg Smith lines his conversion of his own try up, moves in and strikes the ball. And has raised the touch judge's flag, so it's Kendall now 18, leads Comboyne 8. Comboyne recommence play. Goes to Tony Bignell. He turns and runs to the defence. Passes there to Gemmell. Gemmell shaped the pass, lost the ball. Tony Bignell should never have thrown that pass to Dean Gemmell near his own line. Comboyne could hit back with a try here. Schubert's held up right near the line. Kendall's put themselves under pressure. Harold runs from dummy half. He plays it and puts it out to Krogh. It goes on there to Graham, and Graham's held up only a couple of metres from the line. And Kendall's come up with the ball there from that strike.
It hasn't cut out yet. It's only
but it's a penalty to Comboyne because it was accidentally kicked forward there and regathered by Paul Smith. Gardner takes the tap, crashes towards the try line, and he's held up by Mick Laurie. Peter Howell goes to dummy half. He shaped to pass it, and he's stretching out there to try and get the 4-pointer, and he's held up. Thomas on the Billy Gardner on the berth. Gardner's held there by the two Smiths, Garry and Greg. Howell from dummy half, and he's held up. Billy Gardner on the Greg Howell, and he's put in by Troy Krogh and a good tackle. That's the 5th tackle. Goes out there to Graham, and Graham's going nowhere. So Comboyne's had 4 opportunities here to score in the second half and haven't come up with the goods. Mick Laurie plays it there to Troy Krogh. On to Paul Smith on the left, and he's put down by Greg Howell and the assistance of Jones. Mardell. There's a head-high tackle there that the referee said was collar high. Goes out to Greg Smith. He kicks for the eastern touch line. The referee said it went back. Grace Cook comes in and effects the tackle with the assistance of Troy Krogh, who got up there very smartly. Good tackle there by Mick Laurie. He won't take a backward step, no matter if it's 10 stone or 20 stone. Harold there's put in there, and he slipped it to Schubert, and Schubert's back slammed there by, who is it again? Garry Smith. Kendall's got 2 players slightly injured in that passage of play there. Goes out to Greg Howell. He does a little chip kick over, goes to Tony Bignell. Puts it to Mardell. To Gemmell, sorry. He comes back inside. Gemmell will play it to Nev Latham. He goes for a run from dummy half. Step. But he's going nowhere, and he's slammed to the ground there by Ian Lattimore. Troy Krogh on to Tony Bignell. On to Greg Smith. On to Paul Smith. He slips a good pass there to Darren Mardell. Mardell, he He's dummied and he's got around one and he's on his way to the line and Mardell will score for Kendall. That's a good try there by scored for Kendall by Darren Mardell. Darren Mardell. Minute. Yeah, around the 20. He's a good dummy, isn't he? I might take it to see him doing the shots and I'll make a restart. You still on there, aren't you, Becky? Yeah. Darren Mardell saw a good dummy in that passage you play down that eastern touch line. He really sucked the fullback in, stepped around him and scored the 4-pointer. Greg Smith coming in to convert the Darren Mardell try. They're smiling now. Sets himself, moves in, strikes the ball. The touch judges say no. That's Kendall 22. Smiling now. Leads Comboyne 8. No bloody thoughts, bloody.
What's the score?
22 to 8.
Really?
That's the score, not the time. Graham kicks off for Kendall. Comes down to Mick Laurie. He catches it. And he sets fire for the defence. Runs hard in there to French and he's put down. Paul Smith at dummy half. He comes up the blind side. Gained a couple of metres, lost the ball to Billy Gardner and he's slammed to the ground there by Benson and Mick Laurie. He's done a power of tackling here today, Mick Laurie, and with the assistance of Krogh, he's just affected that tackle. Goes out to Nev Latham. He runs hard, but the Kendall defence is rock solid here today. Someone threw a sloppy pass there and their winger come up with it and ball. He shifted from fullback. That's the fifth and final tackle here for Comboyne. Krogh puts up a kick and it's going forward a couple of metres. Comboyne chap was offside then. The referee said no to knock on, he'll put a scrum down, it'll be a Kendall flag. That's a penalty to Comboyne. Comboyne's held up there only a couple of metres out from the Kendall try line. There's a replacement on there, I don't know who it is. Peter Hole, the dummy half, gives it to Billy Gardner. He crashes for the line, but he's put down. Greg Hole, Peter Hole one. He holds the pass up. 54 is a winning double. Comes. It was 5 for them, and Warren Benson for us, wasn't it? Benson scored the first side, didn't he? Yeah. 54, 5 and 2. The Kendall scrum feed here about 10 yards out from their own line. There it is. Kendall, Comboyne come up with that scrum. Scrum win. Garry Smith affects the tackle there on Keating. Goes out to Gardner on the ball, and Gardner's held there by Mick Laurie. Debrasini runs from dummy half and Ronnie Latham done a dangerous tackle there, and it wouldn't surprise me if he's not sent from the field here. The referees give him 10 minutes in the sin bin. Goes out to Thomas. Thomas sets off the line and he's put down. Darren Mardell goes to dummy half. Tries to burrow his way to the line, but he's held up there by Garry Smith and Greg Smith. Greg Smith was offside there from that play of the ball. It's a penalty to Comboyne. They'll take the tap only a couple of metres from the Kendall try line. Keating takes it, lunges to the line, and he's held up. Goes out to French. French is wrapped up there in a good tackle, ball and all tackle by Mick Laurie and with the assistance of Warren Benson. Schubert, dummies, heads to the line, but he's put down, or held up. French fires a pass out to Greg Earl. Goes out to Billy Gardner. Billy Gardner steps, unloads to Jones. Nev Latham knocked that pass down and then come up with the ball. Comboyne threw the scrum and come up with it. Ball works it back to Greg Earl. Earl's put down. He was put down the tackle there and got up and ran and scored the try. Well, that's a bit how you going from referee Burke, but that brings the scoreline now to Kendall 22, Comboyne 12. Looks like John Wayne ran out on, doesn't it? Peter Harrell sets this ball for the conversion of a Greg Harrell try, moves in, left-footed kick, and has raised the touch judge's flag, so Kendall 22 lead Comboyne 14. Comboyne will probably drive this ball deep into Kendall's territory. Yeah, that's John Shewett. Jeff Shewett. He replaced his brother in the first half. That's a big kick-off there by Greg Smith, deep into the Comboyne territory. Is caught by French. French turns, runs, and he's grounded by Mick Laurie. He's done a power tackle on here today, Mick Laurie, with Troy Krogh. Troy Krogh and Greg Smith make that. Billy Gardner takes it up. He's put in by Bignell. Mardell goes out to Greg Earl, who kicks. This ball's coming to Earl. Nev Latham went the wrong way then, and Greg Smith went for French's collar in, and Paul Smith come in and affected the tackle. Goes out to Greg Earl onto Graham. They've used him pretty strongly in the second half. Goes out Greg Earl onto Keating. Long pass out there. Mick Laurie knocked it on there for Kendall. side here, just after that way.
No, they were exported.
Greg Smith will feed this scrum for Kendall. It's Comboyne.
Not fine.
Leversoni knocked that ball on from Buckingham Bay. You get that heater working in the car, George? Greg Smith puts this ball in for Kendall. Comboyne's pushed him off the ball. Greg Arrow comes up with it.
Oh,
Flips it out to Keating. Keating's put down. Plays it to Greg Arrow. On the Schubert. Jeff Schubert, he's put down. Nev Latham and Tony Bignell. To Graham. Graham was put down there with the by the Guernsey. Peter Hull shaped the pass and threw a couple of dummies there. And
Garry Smith, I think, is one of those tackles that's
Dennis Ian Lattimore was putting on that tackle there by Greg Smith.
one tackle. But it's not. No.
That try there was scored by Debbie for Comboyne. Kendall let them back into the game here in this last 10 minutes. What's the score? 14, 18. Kendall 22, lead Comboyne 18. In the 35th minute. Greg Arrows converted that try there from Debrasoni. Comboyne trail Kendall by 20 points to 22. There's about 5 minutes of the game remaining. 22-20. Kendall. 5 minutes, Warren. Greg Smith pickle. Deep into Comboyne territory. That ball was spilt there by Thomas, but he's put in there and a ball and all tackle there from Mardell. Mardell comes in and affects the tackle on French. Peter Hull the dummy half. Puts it to Billy Gardner on the back. Billy Gardner's put in there by Troy Krogh. Peter Hull goes out to Ian Lattimore. Ian Lattimore's put in there and a good tackle by Mick Laurie. Peter Hull runs from dummy half. Peter Hull takes the tap. Passes the ball out to Jones. Kendall's defence was spot on there in the second half, but it fell to pieces here in this latter stages. Gemmell comes in and affects the tackle there on. Thompson. Krogh does the chip kick over. Caught by Mardell. Gemmell and Gemmell's put in. Garry Smith at dummy half. He runs, but Comboyne seemed to be inside the 5 there, but Troy Krogh goes to dummy half. Penalty there to Kendall. Harold kicked Garry Smith in the shins there, and that's working to play the ball. Bloody hell.
Was that the basket?
Les Smith, Cook takes the tap, runs up.
Dave hit the penalty goal in the 15th. Comboyne took the penalty goal at half time. In the second half, Farrington scored his second goal. Then both scored again in the 19th minute, which he converted. In 24 minutes into the second half, Darren Mardell scored a try. And Comboyne scored and converted their try.